This is our planet. If we had a chance to travel around the world, covering 40,000 kilometers on a car moving at a constant speed of 150 km an hour, it would take at least 11 days to cover this distance. Commercial plane would need 44 hours to cover this journey. Depending on the vehicle we are using, we would need to spare at least 2 to 11 days for this entire trip. Zooming out a little bit, our closest celestial body is the Moon. Humans have got the honor to set their foot on its surface. This is how our planet looks from the surface of Moon. In fact, it's not as close to Earth as it seems to be. This is the actual distance between Earth and Moon to scale. You could easily fit 30 Earth-sized planets between them, and it would take 18 days by plane and 3.5 months by car to cover this huge distance of 385,000 kilometers. Zooming out a bit further, our neighboring red planet, Mars, is where scientists and astronomers have spent a lot of time on studying this planetary body. For many years, scientists have been studying and observing this Martian land and its atmosphere. This red planet is at mind-blowing 60 million kilometers away from Earth. At this scale, Moon feels like just a step away from Earth. It would be a good idea not going there by car. Otherwise, you could spend 45 years just to reach there, wasting more than half of your life. However, plane could take you on its surface in just under 8 years. Maybe not that bad. Once you land there, this is how Earth in the Martian sky would look like. Now coming back to our nearest star, the source of life and energy, our Sun is the biggest body, making 99.8% mass of the whole solar system. Sun's circumference is 4.37 million kilometers and it is 109 times larger than Earth. It is 150 million kilometers away from us, which is 2 to 3 times more than the distance between Earth and Mars. This time, if we plan to cover this distance on a car at a speed of 150 kilometers an hour, I'm afraid that you won't be able to reach there in your lifespan. It would take at least 115 years to do that. By plane you might be better off, as it will take just a quarter of your life, which is around 20 years. Zooming out even further, we come at our solar system consisting of a few planets and millions of asteroids. Now we are talking about a scale where traveling by car and plane would make no sense at all. Man-made satellites travel much faster. Voyager 1 and 2 have been the most distant satellites we have ever launched. They travel at more than 60,000 kilometers an hour. At such speeds, Voyager took 12 years to reach Neptune, which is 4,500 million kilometers away from Earth, keeping in mind that our Sun is just 150 million kilometers away on average. One of these satellites took an image of our planet Earth, which I believe is the greatest image in our entire history. We can see our planet some 6 billion kilometers away from the orbit of Neptune. Carl Sagan, one of the great astronomers, couldn't resist and described this mosaic in the following words. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know. everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of a joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Before we zoom out further, let's take a look at something which will make our lives easier in comprehending the vastness of space. Light travels at a speed of 300,000 km per second. So let's take a look at how our solar system looks when we are traveling at the speed of light. One round of Earth covers a distance of 40,000 kilometers, which means light could take 7.5 rounds of Earth in just 1 second. Such is the speed we are talking about. It would take just over a second for the light to reach Moon. However, light from Sun reaches us in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's a lot of time. Solar system is so huge that light will take anywhere from minutes to several hours to cover such huge distances. Sunlight reaches Mars in 12.5 minutes, covering 210 million kilometers. Likewise, it takes 2 hours and 40 minutes for the light to reach Uranus and 5.5 hours to reach Pluto's surface. Here we are talking about distances as far as 6 to 7 billion kilometers. Before we go any further, talking about our travel journeys through the car and commercial plane, it would take 4,500 years by car and 750 years by plane to reach Pluto's icy cold surface. Our solar system doesn't end here. Mysterious objects are found around and beyond Pluto. We call this Kuiper belt. This belt consists of hundreds of asteroids revolving in their orbits. It will take around 7 hours for the light to reach this region. Beyond this mark, there comes an imaginary boundary called heliopause. This is a place where solar wind strength is no longer great enough to push back the stellar winds of the surrounding stars. Here we are talking about distance which is 3 times more than the Pluto is from the Sun. Light would reach the destination in about 17 hours, covering a massive 18 billion kilometers. Beyond this region, our Sun doesn't have much to offer, and its dominance diminishes as we move further away in the deep space. Freezing rocky objects moving in random orbits form this region. We call it the Oort cloud. Our Sun's closest neighbor, star Proxima Centauri, comes up next. At about 40 trillion kilometers away from the Sun, this is the closest star we have got. Just imagine how much time light would take to reach us from there. It's not in hours, not in days, not even in months. It will take at least 4.5 years for the light to reach us from Proxima Centauri. Would you like to go on a commercial flight? Please pay 5 million years for that. Ironically, this is how far our closest star is. Let's zoom out further and see what our galaxy has to offer. This region is just a combination of many stars, just like our own Sun and Proxima Centauri. Spanning at about 100,000 light years across, our Milky Way is home to at least 200 billion stars. We can see our own solar system right there and how insignificant it has become at this scale. Now zooming out a bit further at a galactic level, we will meet our closest neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, just like our own Milky Way but completely another world. Moving out even further, this is how Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies seem to be interacting with each other through their gravities at a distance of a mind-blowing 2.5 million light years. At this level, even our Milky Way spanning at an enormous 100,000 light years seem to become worthless. Zooming out our lens once again tells us that even these two giant galaxies were nothing but a ray of light. Our local galactic group is home to around 30 galaxies spanning at an amazing 10 million light years, 4 times the distance between Milky Way and the Andromeda. Things start to look quite scary at this point. Moving away even further brings us to our own local cluster of galaxies. You can see that this Virgo supercluster stretches at a mind-boggling 110 million light years across, where the tiny dot represents our own local galactic group that we talked about, which is almost insignificant in front of this massive cluster containing more than 700 galaxies. Let's keep zooming out, and we reach this gigantic Laniakea supercluster. It is home to at least 100,000 galaxies. At this scale, even our Virgo supercluster becomes like a tiny droplet in a swimming pool. This ginormous supercluster stretches at about 500 million light years across, which is simply beyond our imaginations. Let's try one more time zooming out and see if there is anything bigger than this massive Laniakea supercluster. Surprisingly, we reach here what we call observable universe. But how big it could be than the Laniakea supercluster? Yes, it's right there. Just a little dot in the vastness of never-ending cosmos, stretching at an overwhelming 93 billion light years across, with an estimated 2 trillion galaxies. Such is the grandeur of our universe. Astronomers haven't discovered anything beyond this mark. But does that mean that there is nothing outside observable universe? No, not at all. Can you see that patch? According to researchers, our observable universe is just a little patch in the vast cosmos where the light has managed to reach us. However, it is estimated that the actual universe could be 250 times larger than what we have observed until now. It is believed that the universe is expanding at a rate faster than the light, which means even if humans manage to live for eternity, those distant galaxies would never be detected.